What if Earth was a prison planet for alien criminals? Humanity is a flawed species. We are innately capable of great things, sure, but we're also prone to incredible acts of violence and cruelty. And while we tend to think of ourselves as being advanced, when it comes to our understanding of the universe, we actually know frighteningly little. Considering this, what if we were to propose a pretty radical idea? What if Earth isn't our home planet? What if this is just a stop along the way? And what if humanity, or at least some of us, are nothing more than prisoners? Now, before we get too deep into this crazy conspiracy theory, we should mention that there's absolutely no evidence to suggest that any of this is true. But stranger things have happened, right? The truth is that despite having walked on the moon and mapped out the human genome, we still don't really know where we came from. And without knowing that, well, anything is possible. So let's explore a few unsettling theories regarding the existence of an ancient alien civilization, lost human memories, and why we may have ended up in the galactic slammer. The human family tree. When it comes to our place in the universe, it's hard to believe that anything could possibly connect us to creatures beyond our wildest imaginations. But there may be more to the universe and to ourselves than meets the eye. For starters, consider the following. Humans aren't the only primates with opposable thumbs. Despite being genetically distinct from one another, humans, apes, and lemurs all share this distinct trait, which is incredibly rare across the animal kingdom. In fact, even the most advanced robots still haven't figured out how to perfect something so simple. So why did so many species independently evolve this feature? And what makes us special compared to them? Well, given the vast number of planets out there, it stands to reason that there could be other primates that also evolved opposable thumbs. Perhaps they didn't just evolve once, but several times over. But humans aren't the only ones with a strange mutation. Across the globe, there are thousands of people who appear to be missing links in the human family tree. Take, for instance, the Nigerian Mumai people, who live mostly in caves and have never developed the ability to speak. Then there are the Sentinelese people of India, who have been spotted with webbed feet and hands, a trait which points to a fish-like ancestry. There are even people living among us who are thought to be descended from Neanderthals and other primitive species, giving them an edge in terms of physical and mental capability. All of these genetic oddities point to a much more complicated ancestry than scientists are willing to admit. It's quite possible that all of humanity's different races and species weren't born, but created through experimentation. This is further bolstered by the fact that according to genetics, every single human alive today can trace their DNA back to one woman known as mitochondrial Eve, who supposedly lived in Africa around 200,000 years ago. Lost memories. Humans have a remarkable capacity to adapt to new environments, but there seems to be something in our programming that prevents us from remembering our past. As a general rule, humans can't remember anything from before the age of 3. It's simply how the brain works. Certain parts of the brain responsible for creating memories don't fully develop until later in childhood, and before then, those memories are seen as unimportant and discarded. Scientists call it childhood amnesia, but there's something else going on as well, something far more sinister. Across the globe, there are millions of people who suffer from false memories. Often these people will remember events that never took place, such as being sexually abused or witnessing a crime. False memories are usually the result of leading questions or repeated suggestions over time. But in other cases, there seems to be something more at play. Consider this. You're one of the last remnants of an ancient race of space travelers. After crash landing on this strange new world, you and your kind established a society that worshipped technology and revered the stars. Over time, your people grew weaker and less technologically inclined, but their memories remained strong. Thousands of years later, that knowledge has been passed down to us, and we've built upon it, learning more and more about the universe, until finally rediscovering the means to travel among the stars. But now that we know too much, we're in danger of being erased. To prevent the leak of sensitive information, rogue alien governments have begun embedding false memories into our subconscious minds. This explains why so many cultures around the world have myths about gods who travel among the stars, why so many of us seem drawn to the night sky, and why archaeologists continue to find strange artifacts made from unknown materials. The prison planet? But let's say that none of that is true. Let's assume that humanity's distant past is exactly as scientists claim. With that in mind, let's look at our present. Humanity is clearly a dangerous species, one that has already caused irreparable damage to its own planet and the delicate balance of life that exists on it. Some of us struggle with basic concepts like empathy and compassion, resorting to violence and deceit to get ahead. With that in mind, it's easy to see why we might be locked away on Earth, a prison planet disguised as a normal world, hiding in plain sight. In recent years, scientists have come to believe that Earth was never meant to support life. It's simply a happy accident. In fact, there are very few things about our planet that are suitable for supporting life as we know it. For starters, the sun is too small to support liquid water, but it's just big enough to prevent the planet from freezing over. And despite being bombarded by cosmic radiation, Earth's magnetic field protects us from harm. Not to mention, our atmosphere is perfectly suited for respiration, has just the right amount of oxygen, and somehow the pressure stays constant despite the Earth's rotation. Finally, all of the ingredients needed to sustain life, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen, are readily available on Earth, thanks to the explosion of a nearby supernova. All of these factors combine to make Earth a suitable candidate for life. But it's only temporary. It won't remain so forever. And that's a problem because Earth's solar system is in a bit of an awkward position. When it comes to the grand scheme of the galaxy, our solar system is incredibly isolated, located in the Orion Arm, also known as the local arm or the lesser of three arms, which is a comparatively small spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. At about 26,000 light-years long, it takes 100 million years to travel, so any civilizations on either end would have to wait eons for help to arrive. Fortunately for us, the nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, is only 4.4 light-years away. But unfortunately, it's currently uninhabited. So if we were imprisoned here, there'd be no escape. With that said, there is one thing that would explain our somewhat unique position in the galaxy: the Great Filter. According to astrophysicist Dr. Gregory Laughlin, galaxies contain a tremendous amount of dust, which tends to block radio waves and other forms of energy. This dust is highly conductive, meaning that if you tried to use a radio to contact an alien species, your message would be blocked long before it reached them. Because of this, scientists theorize that there exists some sort of barrier, a great filter that prevents any species from becoming too advanced and traveling among the stars. This filter typically takes the form of a natural disaster, like a supernova, or perhaps an attack by an aggressive alien species. Either way, it would wipe out any civilization before it had the chance to spread to other worlds. Now, considering humanity's proclivity for self-destruction, it's entirely possible that we, too, have passed the Great Filter. Either that, or we were put here as a form of punishment. So what's next? Let's say that all of this is true, that Earth is a prison planet, and that humanity is trapped here for all eternity. Is there anything we can do to escape? Well, thankfully, there's always hope. Even if we've lost our memories, if we can recover them, we may be able to find a way out. That's certainly the belief of Graham Hancock, an author and podcaster who believes that there is a great deal more to human history than we realize. According to Hancock, humanity existed in a state of paradise for tens of thousands of years. However, around 12,800 years ago, a sudden cataclysmic event known as the Younger Dryas impact showered the planet with debris, causing massive flooding and changing our climate forever. The event wiped out the advanced civilizations that existed at the time and left humanity in the Stone Age, doomed to repeat history. However, Hancock believes that there is evidence left behind from the ancient world that can guide us to a better future. In his book, America Before, he details various sites across the Americas that point to a lost civilization that existed before the Younger Dryas impact. By understanding how these people lived and the mistakes that they made, we may be able to learn from them and ultimately advance to a higher level of existence. Of course, this is just one possibility. There may be others that we haven't even considered, but one thing's for certain: if we want to get out of this prison planet, we need to start thinking outside the box. Now watch. Do we live in a simulation? Why does time move differently when you're having fun? Or check out Aliens Found This Crashed UFO, and it's a prison.